Alright, so if we look at the finalized program that we're shooting for, it has this options panel or a window off to the left of the area where we'll paint, and that's what we're going to begin creating in this video. So we need to create a new class for that, and we'll do it in our main package. Main, new class. We're going to call this options window. So the options window will have its own frame and its own panel that it will be able to put things on. And we create those as fields. That means that they belong to the class and that they can be used throughout the class. So the first field that we're going to create is the window, and that's a JFrame. So private JFrame, and we're going to call it the window. That's arbitrary, and you could call it anything you like. And Eclipse will want you to import excuse me, to import the JFrame class from the Java library. The reason you have to import it is for efficiency. If you didn't have to import each class that you were using, every single program that you build would have the entire Java library as part of that program, which would just be too much data. It would be unnecessary. So we're also going to create a panel to hang on that window, private JPanel, the panel. And that's all we're going to create in terms of fields today. We don't even need to create the panel right away, but we're going to. This is going to be our constructor. So this is the thing that any program will use to build a new one. And inside our constructor, we're going to have a couple different helper methods, but let's just leave that alone for right now. So with Swing, it's important to do things in the correct order, because for instance, if you set something to visible before you add say you set the window to be visible before you added the panel to it, the panel would not be visible. So that's one of the reasons I create these helper methods. Public void initialize. So in this one, in this helper method, we're just going to create new objects from our frames. We're going to initialize the fields. So let's say initialize fields. And this one, we're going to initialize the window. So the window equals a new JFrame, and we're going to call this options. And then the panel equals a new JPanel, and that's all we have to do for the initialize method. And now when anybody creates the options window, it doesn't do anything yet, so we have to write initialize fields, call this method, which will create new objects, and we want to do it in that order. The first thing we want to do is build new objects. And then in this tutorial, we're going to create another method called public void create window. And in this method, we're going to set a couple different attributes of the frame. Oh no, let's do set attributes. Now this method is just about creating the frame itself. So we'll do the same things that we did initially to create the paint window. So the window dot set default close operation JFrame dot exit on close, and that's just, like I said before, a line of code that you're going to have to get used to. This is just a constant that sets a particular attribute inside the JFrame class, and you simply have to memorize it. It's not like this is something that you just should magically know because of programming logic. You have to learn that one. So that just says whenever the X is clicked, close the entire program. We're also going to set the frame to not be resizable. So set resizable, the window dot set resizable, and we're going to say that's false because we don't want people to be able to change the size of the options panel for the sake of our program. And we're going to the frame or the window dot set size, and we're going to set this to be 220 pixels wide, and the height of the paint paint window dot height. We're making a reference to the paint windows static variable 700, so that this options window will always be the same height as the paint window. Then we are going to not set the location for the time being. We'll do that in just a second. And then the next thing we're going to do is say the window dot add, oops, not window listener, excuse me, and the panel, and the window dot set visible true. So what will this program do when we create a new one of these? Well, it'll create a window that's sitting off to the side, but not quite yet, because we actually need to go in and make a new one in our paint panel, which will control kind of the entire flow of the program. So if we head over to our paint panel class, we're going to make a new options window in our fields. So we're going to say private options window, which is the class of objects that we just created, and we're going to call this options window. And now we need to initialize a new one in our constructor. So we can do that anywhere in the constructor. Options window equals new options window. And we're calling initialize. Oh yeah, I forgot. We need to call this create window method underneath initialize fields. So create window. And I believe if we run our program at this point, a window should pop up, not in the correct location quite yet, that is going to be our options window. Let's see if it works. Yes, it does work. It's over here instead of being directly next to our paint easel window, which we'll accomplish in the next video. And that's enough for this one.